Hello everyone, hope you are having a terrific day. My name is Bae Nguyen and welcome to another product review from Healthy Kitchen 101. In today's video, we will be looking at what we think is the best garbage disposal for home you could find at the moment. We're talking about the 1 horsepower InSinkErator Evolution Excel. The InSinkErator Evolution Excel is a premium continuous feed garbage disposal with a rigid build and a sleek appearance. The disposal enjoys exclusive technologies and features that significantly improve its grinding capability and noise control. More specifically, inside this 40-ounce grinding chamber, the Evolution Excel has what InSinkErator calls the multi-grind technology. It is essentially a grinding mechanism designed to produce smoother output and therefore avoid clogs more easily. The disposal also has the best anti-Noi system that we've tested so far, called the Sound Seal technology. The system combines sound insulation from the padding casing and vibration reduction from the flexible connection to keep the disposal's noise profile as low as possible. But these features are precisely why the Evolution Excel is the most expensive garbage disposal we've tested. But the big question is, how well does the InSinkErator Evolution Excel grind? To find out, we're going to put the disposal through 3 different tests designed to highlight its strengths and weaknesses in certain situations. In the first test, called the scrap mix test, we're going to see how it deals with commonly found kitchen scraps. The disposal will be processing 11 different types of foods, from easy-to-grind fruit slices to cooked fish remains. The next 2 tests are going to be more difficult, as we intentionally put the disposal against uncooked meat scraps. We aim to showcase how the Evolution Excel handles raw hollow bones in the raw chicken scrap test, and how it would manage even trickier materials in the raw fish scraps test. The equipment used in the test includes a stopwatch to keep track of how long the disposal takes to finish a task, a sound level meter for readings regarding the machine's noise profile, 2 colanders with differently sized holes to categorize the output, and a scale to weigh all the collected ground materials. As usual, we'll be running all 3 tests on a standalone steel sink. It has no cabinets and it isn't fixed to a kitchen counter or any walls, so the conditions for noise profiling are a little different from how they would be in a real home kitchen. Now without further ado, let's see how the InSinkErator Evolution Excel 1 horsepower performs in our corrected tests. In the scrap mix test, the disposal would take no longer than 4 minutes to process a mishmash of food scraps with 11 different ingredients in the mix and up to 90 ounces. You can see there are celery, corn cobs, avocado pits, even cooked chicken bones and cooked salmon scraps are also in the mix. Before starting the test, we make sure that all pieces are small enough to fit easily through the drain. Then we mix everything up to help create a more realistic load of garbage and to ensure that we are not prioritizing anything. We also remove the sink baffle or the splash guard in this test. Doing this when you have a large amount of food scraps lets the food enter the chamber more effortlessly and improve the pace of the task. We try our best not to interfere with the flow and leave the majority of the work to the machine. What we're doing is simply guide the pieces to the sink drain and let gravity take care of the rest. As usual, we make sure that 1 piece of lemon is among the last scraps to enter the grinding chamber. Around the 1 minute 30-second mark, the disposal is about done, so we stop the timer to check inside and see that there are still leftovers. So we give the disposal another 30 seconds to finish up. At the end, there is still a chunk of broken cork in the chamber. To assess the Evolution Excel's ability to process random foods in great amounts, we take into account how quick the disposal is able to finish the task and how fine the final materials are. As the piece of cork only weighs 0.3 ounces and meets our necessary conditions, we begin the scoring process. As you can see from the footage, the disposal did very well and didn't release any large pieces of food. We used the two colanders to categorize and weight the output as layer 1 and layer 2. The first colander will capture all the large pieces, and the second colander the smaller pieces from the ground output. Weighing the two layers reveals that layer 1 is only 0.8% of the output, which is outstandingly low, and layer 2 roughly 8%. Together, the two layers catch less than 9% of the total output and are the best results we've seen out of 20 different models. The disposal finished with flying colors, with layer 1 scoring a deserving 10 and layer 2 a 9.3. It also scores 10 out of 10 for time thanks to its speedy performance in less than 2 minutes. The InSinkErator Evolution Excel averages 9.8 out of 10 points for this category. InSinkErator does mention that the Evolution Excel is effective against bones, so we will see if it holds true here. The raw fish scrap test focuses on how the disposal grinds tricky material like raw salmon remains. For this task, the disposal will take no longer than 3 minutes to process 49 ounces worth of scrap fish bones, skin, and fins. Like before, we chop everything into chunks that will fit easily through the sink drain so that we don't have to use too much force. When grinding tough materials, we keep the baffle piece in place to keep projectiles from flying out. You can see that we prioritize the fin and skin parts because from experience, they take the longest to grind. Next go the chunks of spine and bones. We continuously feed the scraps to the disposal until the chamber appears full up. If not, we keep on feeding so that the disposal is working at capacity. Around the 2-minute 30-second mark, it sounds like the machine has finished everything, so we cut the power and check inside to decide whether the disposal is eligible for bonus points. But there are still leftovers, so we resume the test until 3 minutes have passed. Assessing the Evolution Excel's capability in this category involves evaluating the input to output ratio and the quality of output. Here we don't take into account the time because the duration of the test is fixed. When the machine finishes, there are roughly 0.1 ounces of leftovers inside the grinding chamber, which is only 0.2% of the input. Once again, less than 1%, which is remarkable for such a difficult task. Practically speaking, everything in the mix has been processed, save for a little skin and a broken piece from the spine chops. Taking a closer look at the materials caught by the colanders, the disposal does an incredible job breaking up the spine and pulverizing the skin. You can tell by how both the skin in part and the broken vertebrae are indistinguishable. Layer 1 and Layer 2 are respectively 10% and 4.7% of the total output. Applying the test scoring formula to the results, the InSinkErator Evolution Excel receives a justified 10 for its leftovers, a 7.5 for Layer 1, and another 10 for Layer 2. These translate to a justified 9.3 overall, which leads to the disposal also topping the chart for this category. The raw chicken scrap test we'll highlight how the disposal processes raw hollow bones, such as those from chickens. The disposal will take no more than 3 minutes to grind 4 sets of bones from chicken thighs, which is roughly 7 ounces in total. You can see that when there's not enough room in the chamber, tough and long pieces will cause a splash if they don't get broken down fast enough and don't quickly find room under the splash board. In the case of the Evolution Excel, when the first 2 sets have occupied the chamber, the 2 final sets have difficulty finding their way through. Roughly 30 seconds in, we suspect that the under half of the 2 pieces have been crushed, but they are unfortunately stuck. When we attempt to reposition the splash guard, one of the 2 cartilaginous pieces immediately falls through. Again, we try our best not to force the scraps in. A little into the second minute, we attempt another repositioning of the splash guard, which lets the final piece fall right through. At this point, we wait for the disposal to finish the task and pay close attention to the noise level to determine when to check on the progress. Around the 2-minute mark, we pause the timer to see if the machine has finished since the noise has died down. There are still materials inside, so we decided to give the disposal a little more time to ensure that it has the time it needs to finish the task properly. The disposal finishes close to 2 minutes and 30 seconds. In the same way scoring goes in the other tests, we take into account how long the disposal takes to finish, its input to output ratio, and its quality of output to assess the InSinkErator Evolution Excel's capability in this category. Taking a close look at the ground materials, the disposal successfully breaks down all the bone tissues and most of the cartilage in the mix. Only a few pieces are caught on the 2 filtering layers. It's difficult to tell from the pictures alone, but the fatty and soft tissues are all processed heavily too. The collected materials from layer 1 and layer 2 respectively amount to 9.4% and 14.8% of the input. After roughly 2 minutes and 30 seconds, only a small piece of broken cartilage remains, which amounts to only 2.5% of the input load. For these results, the InSinkErator Evolution Excel scores 8 out of 10 points for time, 7.9 for layer 1, 8.5 for layer 2, and 9.2 for leftovers, which converts to a leading 8.5 out of 10 for this category. The Evolution Excel's performance are both expected and unexpected at the same time. Expected because the garbage disposal is the most advanced unit out of the 20 we've tested. However, it's unexpected because the disposal's performance was a clear cut from the rest, easily dealing with random kitchen scraps and tackling raw materials. For these reasons, the Evolution Excel deservingly scores 9.4 out of 10 points for its grinding performance, the best performance scores from our lineup of 20 different models. We love almost everything about the InSinkErator Evolution Excel. Performance-wise, it's an absolute beast under the sink, capable of chewing down the toughest food scraps. Even when your discarded foods are in toppling amounts, they shouldn't bother the disposal at all. The scroll scrap test, although impractical in normal settings, suggests that the occasional uncooked materials, especially the bony parts, should not be much of a problem to the disposal. One of the reasons why the disposal is so effective at breaking down food is its grinding chamber. The Evolution Excel has one of the best grinding assemblies on the market with its 3-stage multi-grind design. The design uses additional details and augmented grinding components to increase collision and breakage in the chamber. The 1 horsepower motor with auto reverse and auto boost powers the whole thing and helps with preventing jams and cloggings. Most of our experience with the garbage disposal has been positive. It is extremely quiet, much more quiet than any of the 20 we've tested, and it runs smoothly no matter the food. That is thanks to the disposal thick noise damping casing and its flexible vibration damping connections. It's well built, it works well, and it can last many years of service with proper maintenance. And for the cherry on top, it looks good too. But the disposal is expensive, close to $400 at the moment of publishing, and it's rather large, one of the largest and heaviest in our lineup. For these reasons, the InSinkErator Evolution Excel receives a 9.3 for its overall score and is currently ranked first in our chart. We recommend the garbage disposals for families with up to 8 members, as it doesn't shy away from large amounts of food waste. What's more, people who are sensitive to loud noises can benefit greatly from the disposal low noise profile. And that wraps up today's product review. There are more about our evaluation procedures and more in-depth review on our website if you're interested. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video and consider subscribing to our channel for more product reviews like this one. If you have any questions or suggestions for us, let us know in the comment section. We would love to hear from you. This is Ben Nguyen, thank you for watching, and we'll see you again in the next video right here on Healthy Kitchen 101.